Creating an online course is one of the best ways to make money online if you're someone who likes to teach and coach people. But creating an online course can feel overwhelming and daunting, especially if it's your first time doing it. That's why I'm really excited to share with you my tried and tested and by far the easiest way to create and launch your online course in 6 easy steps. I'm going to talk to you about how I accidentally created an online course that continues to be a source of passive income and continues to support my people and add value to them. Hi, I'm Muna from Inside Out with Muna, where I help you build and grow your online coaching business and your personal brand. If you're new here and you like today's video, make sure you subscribe to get notified every time I release a new video. Now, you're probably here because you're thinking about creating an online course and you're wondering what the best way is to go about it, right? Well, you're in the right place because today's method that I'm sharing with you is really simple, easy to follow, cost effective, and you don't need to be a techie person to apply the steps I'm going to be sharing with you. Now, after you're done watching the 6 steps, make sure you stick around because I'm going to share with you 3 additional pro tips to make sure that your online course is enjoyable and that people actually continue watching it till the end and they get the value that you're trying to give to them. So make sure you stick around until then to hear these 3 pro tips. And while you're watching, tell me in the comments, do you also feel sometimes like creating an online course feels overwhelming? Let me know. I'd love to hear how you feel about it now, and I'd love to hear how you'll feel about it after you hear my method of creating an online course, which is super easy to follow, as I told you. So let's get right to it. Before creating my first online course, I had spent days and weeks of research, and I even took courses on how to create an online course. And while the information that I learned was really valuable, for some reason I kept finding myself delaying the process of actually doing it because I felt like there were too many pieces to the puzzle and I felt even more confused after taking these courses. And then one day I found that I had accidentally created an online course. I know this sounds weird, but that's exactly what happened. I was running a live workshop on Zoom. I had worked on the content for this workshop for weeks. I was really comfortable with it. I felt good about it, and I ran the workshop. There were about 30 or 35 students in that workshop, parents. The workshop was called How to Get Kids to Listen. And it was about a 2.5 hour workshop, 2 hours of content and then half an hour of questions. And the feedback from this workshop was amazing. And of course it was recorded because I wanted to send it to the people who actually attended the live workshop. They had like a week or 2 to watch the recording. And then, like all of the other workshops that I had run in the past, that folder, that recording went somewhere on my laptop. It was saved somewhere. Months later, I was on my laptop doing something and I swear it was like magic. I don't know how it happened. I must have pressed a button or something weird, and the recording, the Zoom recording of this workshop started playing. So I wanted to just pause it, but then I heard myself and I thought, let me listen. It's been a few months. Let me see how that was. And as I watched it, I started thinking, wow, dude, that's like really good content. That's amazing for parents on how to get their kids to cooperate with them without punishment and threats. And the way that I had broken down the content was really cool. And I remembered how much the people who attended the workshop actually liked it. And then suddenly I had this light bulb moment of, wow, why don't I sell the recording? So initially my first thought was just sell it as it is and do nothing with it. But I'll tell you exactly the process that I followed, and it worked, and it still works right now, and people are still buying this course, and I'm sure you can do the exact same thing if you follow my simple process. So let's start with step number 1, create it. The first thing you need to do is create the workshop content. Now, when I created the content for that workshop that I'm talking to you guys about, how to get kids to listen, I didn't know that I was gonna eventually sell it as an online course. But luckily, the way that I had structured the content really worked in the following steps of the process that I'm gonna be sharing with you in a minute. Now, you have an advantage. You know from the beginning that this live workshop that you're gonna run is going to be used as an online course. hopefully for years to come. Evergreen if you want to, or for a short period of time. You're the boss here, you get to decide. But you have the advantage of knowing that that's what it's going to be used for. And that way you can start thinking of the content in chunks, in a way where you can cut up the content into modules and into lessons that can later on be given to your audience and to your clients as an online course. So as you're creating this content, keep in mind that's what you're going to be using it for, so that your slides and the way that you switch from one section to the next is well thought out. I didn't have the privilege of that, but somehow it worked out. But if you do know that this is what you're going to do, it's really very helpful. So that's step number one, create it. Step number two is to sell it. Now in this video, I'm not going to be sharing ways on how to sell your online course and how to launch it, but I do have another video on my channel, which I'll link to in the description below, that you can go watch after this one, that gives you a step-by-step process to selling your online products and your digital products. But basically in this step, all you need to do is promote and sell your live workshop. Now again, because you know that you're going to be using this later on as an online course, you don't have to be stressed about how many people actually buy and attend this workshop. All you need are a couple of people, just a few people, to be there with you live, so that you can feel like you're actually talking to someone, and that's all you need. So in this step, just sell it, promote it, do whatever you need to get a few people live with you on that call for that training. Step number three is to run it. So the day's here, it's the day of your live workshop, and now all you need to do is run this amazing workshop that you created the beautiful content for. A few important things to keep in mind here. Number one, record. I know, sounds so obvious, we're talking about an online course, but now when I look back at all of the other courses and workshops and master classes that I was giving online that I never recorded because I hadn't thought that I was gonna ever use them again, and I feel sad because that was some really good content. So whether it's this workshop or any other workshop, my rule of thumb now is always record your trainings and your calls, because you could eventually use them as an online course, which is what happened with me. So number one is to record. Number two, it's because you know that you are gonna turn this into an online course, make sure that in between sections that you pause for a little bit, just to make it easier for you in the next step of the process. Three is keep the questions either to the end of the workshop or to the end of every part of the workshop. This again will make it easier for you to edit the video later on to provide it to your new clients who will buy it as an online course. Step number four is to edit it. Now that the workshop is over, you have the recording of your full training. And in this step, all you need to do is edit and cut up your video into smaller bite-sized videos. And because you've created the content in such a way that allows you to put it into section, this process shouldn't be too complicated. And because I promised you that this process, again, is not a techy process, it doesn't have to be complicated in terms of the editing software that you use. The ones that I use are really easy to follow and to use. I use DaVinci Resolve. I'll link those in the description below. And I use an app called VideoLeap. Now, if you don't want to do this work yourself and you don't feel like cutting it up, which is, by the way, I promise you, really easy. You can just Google or YouTube it and you'll find the easiest way to apply that, because you're not adding any text on the screen or doing anything fancy. Your slides have done the work for you and you've done all of the talking. So really all you're doing is trimming and cutting and these simple things. But if that still feels like something you don't want to do or you're not ready to do, then you can hire someone to help you do that. I work with virtual assistants who are video editors overseas, and they help me with creating and editing my videos. Now, for this particular video, I hadn't used or worked with a virtual assistant for that. I did it myself, but you can do that. Now, if you're interested in learning how I hire my virtual assistants abroad, let me know in the comments and I can create a video just on that. Step number 5 is to upload it. Now you can upload it to your website if you have one, or you can upload it to YouTube. Now, I use a marketing system, an email marketing platform and system called Kartra, which I absolutely love. I think I've talked about it on this channel before. It's where I host all of my landing pages and where I host my online courses and my memberships, and where I send all of my emails to my mailing list to sell products like these. So you can either get something like that, and if you're interested in learning more about Kartra, you can click the link underneath this video, which is an affiliate link that I have for Kartra, where it gives you 30 days free trial for you to play around with it and to see if this is something that you're ready to take on and ready to invest in. But if you're not, that's not a problem. You can actually upload your videos to a private link YouTube playlist. And once people start making purchases, you can give them that private link. So you don't have to have a website. You don't have to have all of these fancy things. Now, eventually, it would be nice to get to that point. I really like how my online course looks. It looks professional, but I promise you, if the value is there, if the content is good, if you really are able to help people, that's what matters. So it doesn't matter if it's on YouTube or Vimeo or I don't know, anywhere online that people can access. That's all you need. So don't get stuck up on this, that you need a website and you need a platform and you need a big investment. Stop waiting and just launch the online course. And in the future, if you love what you're doing here, you can continue to follow the same process to create even more workshops and online courses that will bring in more money that you can then invest again in the business in something like Kartra or something similar to that. So remember, there's a link underneath this description for you to check out Kartra and see if it's the right fit for you at this time in your business and in your career. Step number 6 is to sell it again. Now, again, I'm not going to be talking about how to sell your digital product or online course, and I refer you back to my other video where I share a step-by-step process for that as well. So you can find that in the description underneath this video. But here, you just want to sell the recording of this course. So before we get to the pro tips that I want to share with you on how to keep your people engaged and really enjoying watching the content of your online course, let's just recap what we talked about today. So we talked about the 6-step process. Number 1, you need to create it. 2, you need to run the workshop, the live workshop. Number 3, you need to sell it. And like we said, doesn't have to be sold to 1,000 people, just a few people in the beginning. It's okay, you're going to be making money on this workshop later on. So the goal now is not to get hundreds of people in. Number 4 is to edit it and cut it up into smaller bite-sized videos. Number 5 is to upload it either into a system, a website, a platform, or on YouTube for free as a private link. And number 6 is to sell it as an online course. Now on to the bonus tips. The first pro tip is, you know how when you're sharing your screen on Zoom, your picture, your video is really small somewhere in the corner. When I was running the workshop that I sold as an online course later on, how to get kids to listen, I didn't want to be in the corner over there because my slides didn't have a lot of content on them, and I wanted to be with the people, but at the same time I wanted slides, so I continued researching ways to make it look better. And I found a really awesome way, and I really think you should do it too. So instead of running the meeting, the Zoom meeting regularly, normally with your picture over there and the picture of the people, the videos of the attendees right there showing on the screen, what I suggest you do is you get a green screen to put behind you. Now you can Google the stuff and find out how exactly you can use the green screen for Zoom. But there's a setting inside of Zoom meetings that allows you to not show as a small video like a talking head over here while the whole screen is over there. You can actually be part of the slide, and it will feel a lot seamless than having you just as talking head in the corner somewhere of the video. This keeps people much more engaged. They feel that they can see more of you, they can see your expressions. So it builds rapport and it just feels so much better. So obviously, if you were to do that, if you choose this option, and you don't have to, of course, I've bought courses of Zoom recordings where the person was a small a small video in the corner, and I didn't mind, and I loved it just the same. Again, the content is what's important, so if you're giving value, it really doesn't matter. But this is an additional, that's why I'm calling it a pro tip. This is an extra step to make it look more professional and to make people feel like they're building a connection with you and seeing your full face instead of just hearing your voice and seeing a small video of you in the corner of the screen. Pro tip 2 is to record an additional welcome video. So now you've run your workshop, right? And you welcomed everyone and you talked about what you're going to be covering today the normal way that you would run any workshop. My suggestion, and something that I did and I felt like it really did add value, is I created, I think it's a 6 or 7 minute video where I welcomed the new people who are buying the online course, and I talked about the course and what they're about to learn. And I also mentioned, which I think you should as well because it helps with sales, I mentioned that this is a recording of a live workshop where people like you and me, so I was talking to mothers and I told them there were other mothers who attended this workshop and you will benefit from the additional insights that they're giving, and you will feel less alone by hearing their questions, which I added as a bonus towards the end, not as part of the training. So this video shouldn't take you more than a few minutes to create, and you can upload it as the first video for them to watch. So it can be, if it's on your website or your platform, it can have a sign that says start here. If it's on YouTube, then it's video number 1 and it's simple. This adds a bit more of a touch that makes people feel like this is not just taken from the recording and thrown at you. So pro tip number 2, I think, is very, very valuable. And I've heard from people who had commented underneath this particular video that they really enjoyed it because, of course, you don't just want to say welcome to the course, you need to add a bit of value. So I did share a very personal story with a small lesson and got them excited about what they're about to watch in the live workshop. So this is something super easy to add, and it adds so much value to your course and to your people and clients. Pro tip number 3, when recording your Zoom meeting, make sure that it downloads to your computer, not to the cloud. Because when it's downloaded onto your computer, you can edit it, which is something that we absolutely want to do, and it's higher quality than when it's saved on the cloud. Again, a very small thing, but makes such a huge difference for the quality and how much people actually enjoy watching your online course and continue watching it until the end, because the quality is great and the sound is great and the slides are amazing. So I told you this process is really simple. I know that it can feel overwhelming before creating your own online course. I spent a really long time just trying my best to create the first online course. I had so much content, so many things I wanted to talk about, but I kept thinking that I needed them to be pre-recorded and I needed this whole setup. But really, doing it this way, running a live workshop, recording that, cutting it up, is amazing. And I feel like my energy, because there were people live with me on the live workshop, the energy came through in the online course. So it didn't feel like I was talking to the camera like I am now, which I still think is very valuable, of course. But there was a different kind of energy in the course and in the videos that really helped and is helping in bringing in more clients, and for this to continue to be a source of passive income to me. Now, because I've talked about my online course so much today, how to get kids to listen without punishment, threats, or rewards, I've linked to it in the description underneath this video. So if you're an Arab parent, because it's delivered in Arabic, who is looking to build a stronger connection with your children, who is really trying to get them to cooperate more, and for your home to have more harmony, less yelling, less punishment, less threats, then this course is for you, and you can check it out in the link underneath this video. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you come back and watch all my other videos where I talk about how to sell your online courses, how to figure out your niche, how to grow your coaching business online, how to make money online. We talk about a lot of exciting stuff on this channel, especially if you're new at this whole online business stuff and you want to find the simplest and easiest ways to do things, because that's how I like to do them, and I hope I'm giving you value in these videos. So check out all of the videos that I linked underneath this video as well for you to see what you want to watch next. And I want to thank you for being here with me all of this time, and I'll see you next week.